While I take attendance, do the 005 entrance ticket in Google Classroom. You'll be answering the question, how have phone apps impacted society? We are going to cover the design thinking process. You'll learn the design thinking process every creative project goes through and demonstrate the steps by creating your own phone app. We're going to be sketching out the phone app, not coding a phone app. The design thinking process consists of 6 steps. Step 1 is empathy. Step 2 is define. Step 3 is ideate. Step 4 is prototype. Step 5 is feedback. And step 6 is implement. Step 1, empathy, is all about your client's users. Not your client, but their users. You are going to gain a deeper understanding of your client's users' experience and what they really need or want. You can do this in a few different ways. You can interview the users. You can observe them using the product. And then there are other methods that you can also gain insight into your users. Any emails that were sent, phone calls, that kind of thing. The key here is that you're not guessing, that you're using research and actual information about the users. Another part of step 1 is to define your target audience and create user personas. We'll go more into depth in our next lesson on the target audience and creating user personas. Step 2 is define, and you can't find a solution until you have a clear idea of what the problem is. Part of defining your problem is understanding your user. So it goes back to step 1, empathy. In step 2, you create what we call a problem statement, and this identifies the gap between the problem and the desired state or the goal of a process or product. The problem statement also provides a clear description of the issue that the designer seeks to address. The user is the most important part of this piece, so make sure that you keep your focus on the user at all times. There are 3 types of problem statements. The first one comes from the user perspective, and it sounds like, I am a young working professional trying to eat healthy, but I'm struggling because I work long hours and don't always have time to go grocery shopping and prepare my meals. This makes me feel frustrated and bad about myself. The second type of problem statement is the user research perspective, and it sounds like, busy working professionals need an easy time, efficient way to eat healthily because they often work long hours and don't have time to shop and meal prep. This one is less personal, but it still sums up the issue of the problem. The third one is the who, what, where, and why. And it sounds like, our young working professional struggles to eat healthy during the week because she is working long hours. Our solution should deliver a quick and easy way for her to procure ingredients and prepare healthy meals that she can take to work. Step 3 is called ideate. In this step, you're going to generate ideas and lots of them. This step is all about moving past the obvious answers and getting to answers that really solve the problem in a unique way. You'll begin with conceptualizing your ideas with thumbnail sketching. So this is all about trying to get designs down quickly and coming up with lots and lots of designs. The thumbnail sketching is very similar to what we did in the drawing unit. The other thing that you'll do in this section and also in step 2 is gathering information or pieces that inspire you, whether that's a font, a color, the way something is laid out. Those are the types of things that you're gathering. Step 4 is prototype. So in step 3, you created a whole bunch of thumbnail sketches. And step 4, you're going to take a few of those and create finished designs. And this is typically where the Adobe software comes in. So step 3, you haven't really touched software. Step 4 is when you really move into the software and finish up those designs. Step 5 is feedback. One of the most important things you can do is to seek out feedback from your peers and your clients' users to see if you've met your goal, which is the problem. A lot of times we think we have meant or we intended for something to happen, but the reality is not the same. And so the users don't feel the same way that you think you've communicated. So it's very, very important to seek out feedback. And step 6 is to implement. And this means that you go live with your design, or it's printed, it's on the web, that kind of thing. This is when users can interact with your design. So if it's a website, it goes online. If it's a printed piece, it's printed and hung up around town, or mailed, that kind of thing. If it's an advertisement, the ads are on TV, on the radio, and web browsers, that kind of thing. Okay, so the design thinking process in action. So this looks like you would do step 1 through step 6 straight through without missing steps. But in reality, that's not how we do this process. We always start with empathy and then move to define. And then typically from define, it goes to ideate. Now, this is where things start to get bouncy. So as you're ideating, you're creating your thumbnails, you're brainstorming, you may bounce back to empathy or to define, then go back to ideate, then go on to prototyping. I personally bounce a lot between step 3 and 4, ideate and prototyping, in the beginning stages of a design. You may then go to step 5 for feedback, and that might put you back into prototyping or ideating. It could even put you back into defining. So there's a lot of bouncing that happens. This is not a linear process at all. Okay, so our project is going to be to create a phone app. So you will need to create a phone app that solves a problem in today's world. It doesn't have to be a big problem like solving world hunger. Think about the problems you have and how a phone app might help you solve one of them. The rules. Your app must be original or drastically different from any other website or app in existence. The technology doesn't need to exist, and explaining the technology isn't part of this assignment. Some ideas from my students, and you can't use any of these ideas. A music app that provides songs based on your mood. A teleportation app, so you can get from one place to another super quick. An app that takes photos and makes outfits from the clothes you own. Marco Polo, find your missing phone. You yell Marco and your phone yells Polo. Your next steps are to complete the design thinking worksheet located in the 006 design thinking process assignment in Google Classroom.